Good morning, Greg here. Burn at both ends. Burn on the front end of Thursday. It is the 19th of July, 2018, 6:24 a.m. Pacific. It's a beautiful morning here in Albany, California. Love opening this garage door. So my home office is in the garage. Got my garage door open right here. So there's cool air coming in. That's why I rock the hoodie, rock the hat. My wife gave me this hoodie. It's got a lot of sentimental value to me. And then the hat, my parents gave me this hat years ago. This hat's probably, 30 years old, 25 years old, and I love it. So it just reminds me of kind of where I came from. I was very lucky. I had two really awesome parents, and so great upbringing. And a big piece of this channel was, pushing myself, elevating my game to leverage that upbringing. And so that's where this whole burn at both ends concept came from. It's just, I want to look back when I get much older, look back at this time and know that I really crushed it. I really put in this tremendous effort and no regrets. Big fan of Gary Vee. Really feel his, no regret model. Been doing a lot of self-awareness, a lot of self-auditing. And so a big part of this channel is just, this journey, documenting my journey as an aspiring entrepreneur. So, and a big piece of that, and it's a great segue, is this I-Corps program that in like the home stretch of. So this 8-week technology transfer training offered by DOE. You might be able to hear the BART train coming by, the old BART train. Anyway, DOE funded program where we're learning about the lean startup model developed by Steve Blank. We're learning about customer discovery interviews, business model canvas, ecosystems, and it's a really intense training. The way that they structure it is go for 8 weeks. There is no doubt about this. So we're toward the tail end of week 7, and one of the big challenges is doing 75 customer discovery interviews. Right, the first week is training in Denver, and then like weeks 2 through 7, we're back in Berkeley. We have a team of 3. I'm the entrepreneurial lead. My main focus is setting up these customer discovery interviews. And then, the whole goal is that we're learning about the market. We're learning, we're trying to get really raw and unbiased feedback from the market so we can understand if our technology has traction. And the interesting thing that they train us is that when we talk to folks in industry, we do not talk about our technology, or we talk about it very little. And that way, we really, don't bias the interview, right? Because the theory is that if I bring up my technology and say, hey, isn't this cool? Then the focus is, yeah, that's cool. And people don't want to upset you. So they're going to tell you it's cool. And they're going to tell you, they're going to try to make it fit somehow in the market, as opposed to, yeah, we have a technology, but it's in my back pocket. What are you working on? What do you think is important? What do you need? What have you tried? Where are things going? That way they have no idea what we're working on, so that way they can't kind of try to incorporate it, and they're just going to give us some raw data. And that's been working really well. And then, since this is a highly technical project that we're working on, and technology, I was going to say a highly technical technology, that's just kind of funny. But it is very technical. There are a lot of times where we do have to reveal certain aspects of it, so that way this person can kind of take the next jump and go, oh, it can apply here because of what you just told me. And so there are times where it does make sense to reveal a little bit about the technology, so that way they see it through our eyes a little bit. And then also, we're intentionally talking to just some entrepreneurs to get the pure business side of things. And so in those conversations, we do really have to kind of tell them where we think it fits. And then we want advice like, how hard is it to break into this market? Who's tried it before? What are some recommendations on talking, because we're going to be, we're interfacing with some pretty big companies. It's a pretty cutthroat industry. And so there are times where it does make sense to do that, where we kind of break the I-Corps rule, if you will. But I'd say overall, we've collected some crazy awesome data. Yes, crazy awesome data. And what's really interesting is that it does really appear like our technology has some severe market traction. And what's also interesting is that the timing seems to be, perfect. Some of the big markets that we're looking at are severe growth markets that are being pulled by especially things like Internet of Things, all these smart devices, smart factories, smartphones, smart cars, if you will, autonomous cars. all this, I guess, what they call edge technology, right? There's the cloud and then there's the edge, right? So the edge is like me on my phone. I'm at the edge, right? I'm at the edge of the technology ecosystem with my phone or with my drone, right? The cloud might be kind of considered the center, if you will. And then the edge is the autonomous car, the phone, the tablet, the drone, my automated factory is the edge. And so a lot of this edge technology is pulling the, like technologies like we're working on. We're working on an advanced manufacturing technique that's going to enhance kind of things that IoT and the edge are pulling, right? And these edge objects or these edge devices, with what they need to do, are also then they're pulling on the kind of the network infrastructure, right? 4G to 5G, so that way we can transmit more data, right? So the more think about my autonomous car, the more sensors on that car, the more data it's collecting. Right? It's looking around, it's listening, it's watching, it's hearing. It doesn't want to hit anybody. It wants to understand where it is in 3D space. It's going somewhere. It's got passengers. It's receiving data. It's transmitting tremendous amounts of data. I was at Semicon West last week, and the big thing there was AI. I was at Semicon West a year ago, and the big thing then was autonomous vehicles. And these are somewhat similar concepts. I mean, these are not too far off. You might say autonomous vehicles is a subset of AI. AI might be the umbrella topic that touches many, many, many things. And of course, Internet of Things is a great buzzword that everyone loves to use, and that's a huge umbrella. I mean, that pretty much points to any kind of sensing device of any kind that's got some smarts that can radio back through a cloud or to the cloud to transmit data. Okay, and then you hear about all this like big data, these big data topics, and that's exactly where the big data comes from. It comes from all these, it comes from the edge to the cloud, and then now you have this gigabytes or terabytes or even more bytes of data, and now mining through it, sifting through it, and pulling out something useful. So that way you can radio back to the edge and go, turn left, or there's a person there, stop. There's an accident in the block, go a different way. All of these things. But now think about not just one car, but think about hundreds of thousands of cars doing this at the same time. This is where this really intense network needs to be. This, these data centers that host these cloud platforms need to exist. And so the data centers is another huge growth market. This is also all this stuff is kind of building on itself. The edge needs sensors. The sensors need a data network. The data network brings the data back to a data center. The data center does the processing, right? The data center not only stores the data, but then the data center needs algorithms and techniques to process that data, to mine it, to pull out good information, to send it back to the edge. And so this is this kind of feedback loop that is pulling a lot of tech, that is just creating these huge markets. And the CEO of Applied Materials talked about AI being a $1 trillion opportunity, which is probably true, but it's such a such a high level comment to make. But it's really more important to talk about specifics, and and how does AI touch me, right? So AI touches me when I use Waze to get somewhere in the morning, right? We're running late. I got to get my daughter to camp. I got to drive from Albany to Berkeley, and I'm using Waze to find the best route so I can get there in the fastest time, right? And actually that's what a lot of this buys us. And think about Gary Vee, he talks about this a lot. And actually, if you listen to, there's a link down in the description about voice, and that's what he says. That's why voice is going to be so big, because it buys us time. He talks about the concept of like, how much easier is it for me to say, Alexa, remind me to buy bread at the grocery store, as opposed to pull up my phone. And now this is, talk about some first world problems, right? This is like, doing that as opposed to picking up my phone and opening up my calendar or something, set a reminder for myself to buy bread, right? So we're talking about maybe that took 15 seconds to tell Alexa to do that, and then maybe versus the full minute or 40 seconds it might take me to open up an app and then put it in there. And then the question is, then what? Now think about the time there. So even though it's only like, let's say 15 seconds to like, let's say 45 seconds, that's still a factor of 3, right? I got this theory about factor of 2 and better is you're picking up a significant, win there, right? Factor of 2 is a huge gain. Think of like 2-for-1 drinks at the bar. That's definitely worth it. I mean, we'll go to a store for a 10% coupon. That's not nearly a factor of 2. But now Alexa has the reminder, and let's just compete with now my phone has the reminder. How does that reminder now get back to me? All right, that's interesting. So, with Alexa, that's interesting. I'm at the store. How's Alexa going to tell me to remember to get bread? That's a good. I mean, I have to be plugged into my phone anyway. The reminder is going to show up on my phone, so I might get a little buzz or a little ring. Maybe Alexa will ring me as well. So the end result notification might be the same, right? It still might be my phone buzzing me and telling me to do this. It's just how much time did I invest in creating that notification? And that's so here is AI working for me as a parent, right? And I had the example of going to camp in Waze, right? And so Waze only works well because there are a whole bunch of people on the edge communicating back to the cloud, right, with their sensors. And the sensors here are GPS, and then also the willingness of people to input things like there's a cop there, there's a pothole there, right, all that stuff. And so, but only because everyone uses this stuff can the AI work, right? And so the AI in this model with back to Waze now is mining all this data from all these edge users about where they're traveling, how fast they're going, maybe what they're inputting as far as what they see. And it's radioing back to the cloud, and then the Waze cloud is processing that data and then sending it to me where I'm going from Albany to Berkeley, and it's telling me, don't go down San Pablo, you want to go over here, you want to go down Sacramento, and then you want to turn left on Cedar, for example. Not a left on Hearst, or I'm just making it up, but this is the AI model working for me right now. And so think about how well Waze works. I'd say it's pretty incredible how accurate that, and then what does this boil down to for me? Like, what do I see? What's the first thing I see when I put that address in and I hit go? I see what time I'm going to get there. I see what time I'm going to get there. And then I go, all right, I'll be on time. Or I go, no, I'm going to be late, right? And then I kind of get to that. This is interesting, right? So let's say I do all that, and so I know all that's happening, all that edge work, all that cloud work, all that AI is happening, and I'm getting the latest and greatest. Yet I think, let's say I'm going to be late, I'm going to try to outsmart Waze and get there faster some other route. And actually, my brother and I had this conversation. I don't think either of us have ever beaten Waze as far as trying to do that. And some people that don't use Waze don't get that. And you'll be in the car, or I'll be in the car, and Waze will pop up, and hey, it looks like we're going to be there in 20 minutes, and they'll try to outsmart Waze. And my comments always, I've never been able to outsmart Waze. So, because we might just go a direction that they don't think is the best direction. And there are some people that I've met that are just pounding their fist about, I know how to get there. I know the best way. And it's interesting. It's like, wow, you know better than tens of thousands of users and all this AI technology and all, it's like, it's interesting. And so, usually I'll just listen to them and go their way, because at the end of the day, you're talking maybe a few minutes of difference if it's like a 15 to 20 minute drive. So anyway, so back to iCore, back to our technology, back to, kind of the beginning of the conversation is like, these are the things that we are looking at and understanding. And now, so now for our specific technology, now we need to look at a sliver of IoT and a subset of markets that IoT is helping, and how those subset of markets kind of now pull back and come back to our technology, right? And so we're a piece of advanced manufacturing. We go into this machine goes in this factory, this machine is built by this company, it's sold to that other company that goes into their factory, they make this device gets sold to this integrator then puts something together, a phone, or let's just say like a LiDAR for an autonomous vehicle, or what else could it be? It could be a number of things, right? It could be some special vibration sensor for a factory, so that way they know when a certain machine that's got a lot of rotating parts needs new motors, or the bearings start going out because it's vibrating more, right? And so they package this device and then they sell it to an end user, let's say to a Siemens who has a factory, or to Caterpillar. I just learned Caterpillar is getting into data centers, right? So they'll sell it to a Caterpillar now, and it goes in their data center. And so that whole value chain is what determines what we're doing, what I am doing today with my team in this technology, and where it needs to go. And this is what the I-Corps program has brought to us, and really, like, what I say is amazing about I-Corps, and I highly recommend, if anyone's got a technology out there and you're interested, if it's got market traction, this is a program to get involved in somehow. Now, there are lots of like accelerators and like these incubators that will run a similar type program, so that might be a way that you can get into it. But what really, the benefit that I got from I-Corps, is just the intensity and the pace, that they put you on. I mean, the things that we've learned in 7 weeks. I'm amazed at how much we've learned, how far we've penetrated these enormous companies that are, on the front end, I was really intimidated. I'm like, how on earth are we going to get into these places? And what I have to say is the fact that our technology has, is very creative, and I think it's got legs. I think it definitely, can expand to where we need to go. And also, we have a lot of credibility on our team. That's another thing, is that, I walk around with our company name, and there's no doubt that people want to talk to us. Right? That's a big deal. That gets us in a lot of doors, because that starts a conversation. I'm from so-and-so, this is our technology. Can you give me 15 minutes? And then the fact that, we're not messing around, and, we've started this thing with a good amount of government funding. So that means the government is backing us. This is, this credibility allows us to get a foot in the door. The foot in the door allows us to have these conversations, having solid conversations now. Then we start to see how much people want to help us. And that's how we've gotten into these enormous companies, is we start with whatever in we can get. And then this is what we're doing. Who do you think we should talk to at your company if you aren't the right person that might be able to tell us if this thing, can work, and how we might work with your company. So, and it's taken. It's interesting. We have an interview tomorrow morning with one of the big companies, right? So this person is like the person to talk to at this company about our technology. And we've heard this from many different folks, experts in the field, that, oh, you're talking to him? Oh, great. That's the man you want to talk to. And so it's taken many steps to get in there. We've, I don't know how many people exactly, maybe 6 or 7 people we've gone through. And what's interesting is that we've gone in many different places, and they've all led to this one person. And I think as advertised, he is the man, and he's looking at our tech. He's bringing some really smart people together in a room. We're going to talk tomorrow morning. I'm really interested to see what he has to say and see where he thinks it can go. Hopefully they don't steal our tech, because that's the other challenge, is that, that's a possibility that they could just take our tech. But my thinking is, I got 2 things working for me, or working for us, I should say, that are opposed to that, right? One is that our technology is in a very early stage, and there needs to be a tremendous amount of development still, right? So whoever takes it or runs with it needs to put a lot of time and effort into it. We're thinking at least 2 years. And then the other thing is that, I am telling everyone that we're talking to everyone. And so there's going to be this kind of, at least double take on, do we steal this and run with it? Because he's also talking to our competitor. What are they doing with it? And so there's, and I'm sure that they have a back channel communication, amongst themselves. And so I'm curious to see how this plays out. I mean, I-Corps does end next week, so our big challenge is, can we keep going with this? Can we keep having these conversations? We need to find funding. There's this really big conference in Europe that we're trying to get to, and that's a conference where we'll meet a lot of folks. Like pretty much everyone that's involved in our technology and where it gets applied is going to be there. And so it's and it's all about kind of, it's like stepping stones. It's let's just get to the next stepping stone and see what we can see from there. The next bend of the river. But what iCore, back to iCore, what iCore has really brought is that sense of urgency and that just go kind of mentality on this thing. And there is a feeling with iCore that we're kind of doing things out of sequence, that we're thinking about things way too early. Like we're thinking about revenue streams, and we don't really have numbers yet on how much our thing costs. But like the instructor's like, that's okay. Just start thinking about it, because just by thinking about it, a bunch of questions will fall out. And then now you know what you need to find out in your next set of interviews. And I think that's what's really critical is, and one of the best advice that we got from Jim. Thanks, Jim, for that time. Jim gave me about 90 minutes of just awesome wisdom. And what he said is like, you don't do things in series, right? You don't do one thing at a time. You do everything at once, right? And this is the stress. This is the challenge of being an entrepreneur. Everything at once. And now, what are the priorities, right? You're doing everything at once, and you're only and you're a small team, and it's chipping away. It's interesting. So, but it's been a great learning experience. I'm really enjoying this program. I recommend it to anybody. Now I have these great tools in my tool chest, and I'm going to deploy them with things going forward. I have some big projects to manage starting in August. I'm working with Peter and his nonprofit widget, so I'm excited about that. And rock and roll. And I'd say, this is just a hugely beneficial experience I've had. It's elevating my game. It's pushing me in a great direction. It's exposing some of my weaknesses, some of my non-supportive thinking, some of the things that I deprioritize just mentally, like the presentation I talked about the fact that we give these presentations every Wednesday, and I deprioritized the effort to put in the presentations, and I was not happy with my performance there. And so this last week I really upped my game. We had our presentations yesterday, and I think I crushed it. I just felt really good, right? The information was just flowing through me. So really good stuff. So I will wrap there. So this channel is all about my journey. I'll hit the success journal. The success journal is really critical in this success. It's really helping remind me of these little things I got to do, all these things I got to do. So the success journal really keeps me well aware of all these items that I need to keep moving in parallel. Right. This is critical. So I'm really enjoying the success journal. I'm enjoying the 1 week chunk that I'm using with it. It's really kind of forcing me to to keep a lot of these wheels spinning, and also how to spin them, right? Some things I just got to touch once a week, some things I just got to touch once a month, some things I got to touch 3 times a day. So I will wrap there. It's all about my journey right now. So if you like what you hear, subscribe, comment down below. I'd love to hear about your journey. I want to be of service. Please ask questions, give me feedback. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If there's anything I can do to help you, personal, business, let me know. I'd love to do it. I want to be of service. And check out the descriptions. There are some great links to some motivational sites down there. There's some great music down there. At least I think it's great. ENS is down there. This voice-based social media platform. Excuse me. And I also have the Success Journal is linked down there. Some other things around the Success Journal. And the beat in the background is an Afro beat inspired by Fela Kuti. G-Money is my alter ego. I've been drumming for several decades. So check that out on SoundCloud. And so go out. It's Thursday. It's a great day to go out, inspire folks, light it up, do great things. And I will see you tonight.